Today, I am joined by an incredible woman who I have had the pleasure of being friends with for a couple of years now, Alicia Lansdown. Alicia spent most of her 20s completely unbothered by health, while her dad, a bodybuilder, quietly nudged her toward it. She wasn't interested, but with him in her corner, she felt unstoppable. Then he died suddenly when she was 30, and everything fell apart. Not just her health, but her sense of who she was. What followed were years of trying to put herself back together. Chronic inflammation, mystery health issues, and 10 kilos she couldn't shift no matter what she tried. She even travelled to Costa Rica to study raw food nutrition. Still, her body held on, doing everything right but getting nowhere until something shifted. She began training for her bodybuilding competition. She got lean, strong, and for a moment felt like she'd finally cracked it. But pushing that hard came at a cost that she hadn't anticipated. Her mood darkened. The person chasing that stage was someone she didn't recognize. She never stepped on that stage. She stopped, stepped back, and started again, this time without the extremes. The confidence she'd lost when her dad died began to resurface, not by pushing harder, but through finally understanding her own body. She was strong, lean, and clear on who she was again. Now, that version of herself launched her first business, and that experience, backed by formal study in health science, became the foundation for true nature nutrition. Hello and welcome to The True North Show. I'm your host, Megan North. I am a purpose finder, mental health professional, and guide for those ready to return to who they truly are. Here, we explore what it means to live a life led by purpose, alignment, and deeper inner truth. Through real conversations, powerful reflections, and soul-led strategies, we'll uncover the stories, tools, and insights that help you navigate life's crossroads and find your own true north. So whether you're in the middle of a transformation, seeking clarity, or just curious about what's next, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Your path starts now. Welcome to the show, Alicia. I am so thrilled that I'm sitting here with you today.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I think that was it a bit emotional listening to that bio and just sort of listening to your journey?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's interesting, isn't it, when someone else reads those sort of things out and you're sort of listening as an audience member? Yeah.
You know what I mean? It still brings up the emotions of that journey, really.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you've ever done everything right, but you still felt stuck in your own body, Alicia's story is exactly what you need to hear today. So Alicia, let's start by diving in and understanding the circumstances around your defining moment that led you to pursue your passion and purpose, particularly the one that you're pursuing right now.
Yes. So I think, I really need to circle back to, I guess, who the person my dad was in my life.
Mm.
And, I'm getting emotional. And he was really a mentor. He had his own faults, but he was a beautiful man, and he was, the person that you could come to who would have all the answers or guide you to the answers. So when he passed away, which was he died very tragically. And I lost that part of me.
Yeah.
I lost that part of me because I didn't have somebody to go to anymore. He provided that safety that I felt in my body and my nervous system, that I could do and be anything and achieve anything. So without him, I was like, who am I? You know, who am I? Am I just somebody who follows the crowd and goes with the flow? At the time before he passed away, I was, you know, a bit of a party animal and kind of just, as I said, going with the flow. And really, I felt when he died that, like, I was just going with the flow and the current, but not my own current. So I guess I started to search for that. And one thing, like when I was in my 20s, I moved to Canada, and that didn't work out very quickly, and I came home, but I always felt like that was like a piece of me that I didn't fully explore. So a couple of years after he died, I just had his words ringing in my head, which were like, you only have one life, just go for it. And so I decided, I was working online at the time doing marketing. So I decided to do a year of travel. And, you know, during that year of travel, I sort of started to explore more like my spiritual side and doing more meditation and yoga and things like that. And, you know, I quit drinking during that time. And I really did feel like, you know, I was discovering myself at that point. But at the same time, I was struggling with all of these health issues. Like, I'd put on a lot of weight after he died. And, you know, I was eating out a lot. And I tried many different diets. I'd first tried to be a vegetarian, and then I took it to the next level of being a vegan. And, you know, I was living in Mexico at the time, and this retreat to, you know, do a raw vegan nutrition course in Costa Rica came up, and I was like, yeah, why not? Like, this is the answer. I think this is the answer. So I went and did that, and I became a raw food vegan. Now, after I did that course, I actually came back to Australia, and Sydney really just sucked me back into the vortex. Like, I just, you know, I went back into the manicness of, like, you know, I was a photographer at the time. I was still doing marketing. So I just went back into like the busyness of Sydney, and, you know, went back into like drinking and all of this sort of stuff. And I kind of, again, started to lose myself in such a way. And so I wanted to, you know, get my health back. I wanted to, you know, lose all of the weight that I'd put on. And so I went and saw a nutritionist. And I was in New Zealand at the time on my friend's farm, and speaking with this nutritionist, and she was like, I'd done my bloods, and the bloods came back, and all of my like B vitamins and iron were really low. And she, like, you know, basically put it in front of me and was like, you're only eating like 600 to 800 calories a day, which is not enough. You're like highly inflamed. I had a parasite at the time, most likely from Mexico, I'd imagine. And anyway, so I went down this sort of rabbit hole. She was like, okay, you need to eat meat again. I'd lost my cycle. She's like, you need to eat meat again. You need to do this, this, and this. I had this massive protocol of vitamins and supplements and whatnot that I had to take. So I started to do that, and within about 6 weeks, everything started clicking back into place. But there was still more, like So anyways, I found out that I was allergic to corn, and I'd spent most of my time overseas in Mexico, which is heavily corn-based.
Yes.
I was still eating like gluten, and I thought that I had celiac disease, but I wasn't sure. And then I got confirmation that I've got the celiac gene. So as soon as I stopped eating gluten, you know, that's when that inflammation and that weight started to really shift.
Right.
And alongside that, I was, you know, doing strength training, but not seriously. Like, I was just doing it, you know, a few times a week, just no real structure or anything like that.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until like the first lockdown that I started training for a bodybuilding competition.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, at the time it really helped with my mental health to be strength training. But to that extreme, it ended up being the detriment of my mental health.
Yeah.
Because when you get really, really lean, and you've got stresses in your life, like if you're not eating enough fats, for instance, like you don't have the hormonal support, particularly, your sex hormones, which are protective, neuroprotective, etc. So I ended up, really, really depressed, and I just went, no, I can't do that. That's way too extreme for me.
Yeah.
So I didn't go completely back, but I just went, okay, cool. What do I really want to achieve? And it just came back to, I want to feel strong and confident in my body.
Mm. And do you think that that's where because you worked with this naturopath and nutritionist, is that then where it started to spark your interest of, oh, this is real, like, oh, I'm really interested in this?
Yeah. So when I came back to Sydney, I'd actually applied to do a nutrition degree, but I'd pulled out because I got busy with all of my other marketing stuff. So there's kind of, I guess, a bit of a thread in terms of my story, which is like the safety that my dad provided. I was providing for myself, so it was really hard for me to take risk and to go on that journey, because I just kept going back to what felt safe that I could anchor to.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it wasn't until 3 years ago that I actually started studying health science.
Yeah.
But it was the moment where I went, that's the answer. Like, following all these internet trends and things that people are like, here's the answer. There's so many different diets out there. Like I've even I tried carnivore a couple of years ago, but this was a truly experimental. And keto, and like both of them just didn't work for me because they didn't fit into my lifestyle and my training as well.
Yeah.
Because that being strong was probably more important to me than, going on some crazy diet to lose weight. And I didn't need to lose weight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would imagine for you too is that reconnecting in with yourself, and I guess your trusting and your inner wisdom and your intuition needed to be I don't know, I feel like the word I keep getting is like refired, because if your dad had been around, you would have just asked him, and you would have probably taken, if he'd said, yeah, go for it, you would have gone, oh, okay. Whereas you needed to then go back into that internal, what do I need and what do I actually feel inspired by to say yes to?
Definitely. And I think too, like I started my first business just after the first lockdown. And that was started as a video production and photography business. And then we went into the second lockdown, and so I wasn't doing any marketing work at that time. So I ended up, some people reached out to me. They needed help with their startup. So I ended up launching their startup. And then I took on more marketing clients. So I ended up having a marketing agency just because of that. And then, those two startups that I had, or my two biggest startups, like they ran out of money. They decided not to continue. So I was left at the end of, God, what year was it now? I can't remember. The end of, let's say, 2023, I think.
Yeah.
I was like looking at, like, I've got no clients in marketing, and it was like the bulk of my work. So I went, okay, cool. I'm just going to run my business as a photography and video production company. And that's when I revisited okay, well, actually, what do I really want to do from now and into the future? Like, I'd been a photographer since I was 21. And I was like, I've been doing this for years. I can do it with my eyes closed. But what is like my purpose?
Yeah.
It wasn't like the photography and video stuff is like passion. I'm still very passionate about it, but there was like, I loved it and I was passionate about it, but I was missing the purpose piece. And I was really, I'd reconnected with my spirituality, and it just came down to, how do I want to support other people, particularly, people that may have been through the same or of going through the same experience that I went through, and need help, just coming back to basics.
Yeah.
Coming back to what works for you and your body. Because I think, we can try and find all of the answers outside of us most of the time. And it's, what I found was just coming back to consistency, and coming back to what I knew my body, the language, speaking the language that my body knew to interpret.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was one of the conversations I had with this nutritionist at the time. It was like the raw vegan stuff. It was like I was speaking a different language to my body, and it couldn't absorb the nutrients from the food that I was eating.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. And isn't it interesting when I love that you talked about the marketing, the PR agency piece, and how all of a sudden that work just stopped. And it's interesting how the universe works. And when we're in that trust mode, sometimes we're not always in the trust mode, but when we're in that trust mode of, oh, well, what else? That then freed your time to be able to reconnect with the nutrition part of it. But it's when we're in that trust that we can then start to recognize those subtle signs that the universe is giving us.
Well, that's it. I was way too busy, like just working absolutely crazy hours. I didn't have any capacity. And I thought to myself too, like, what lifestyle do I want to create for myself? Do I want to be sitting at a computer all the time, or, out there shooting? Like, I've got a little dog, Harry, who, and like, it was becoming difficult for me to be on shoots all the time or to be on the computer all the time, because he needed my attention and love. And so I thought, well, from a lifestyle perspective too, like, how do I want to bring my heart into the world, one, but also how do I want to support myself and my life and my body, and as opposed to just playing a role in, something that, yes, was supporting me, but wasn't nourishing me, I guess.
Not filling your cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Wow. It's such it's so interesting, isn't it, when we can sit and sort of reflect on how we've gotten to where we are, because we sometimes, I think, we forget to reflect as well, and so it's really nice to be able to just sort of hear how that transitioned, and for you too to sort of reflect on where you are now and why you're here.
Definitely. And I think too, like, even the journey since, starting my studies and what sort of transpired through all of that as well has just been like, it's like compound interest on a decision that you've made, that you just keep getting these like reinforcements. Like, and I'll share, like, at the beginning of last year, I did this course. I read one of William Whitecloud's books, and I jumped on one of his courses, and one of his meditations just like cracked me open and cracked my heart open. And it was just like, I'd never felt love, like, just for no reason. Like, my life was not in the best state if you looked at my external circumstances, but like my internal self and the love that I felt and the awe for everything in the universe was just like, wow.
So beautiful.
So there's, it's just, it keeps compounding in terms of what I want to do and how I want to help people.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And so from a mental health and well-being point of view, so what sort of things do you do to maintain your well-being? And then is there anything like different that you do that might be a little bit different to what others do, to help you with your mental health and well-being? Obviously, Harry's got a big deal to do with it.
Yeah. Harry definitely does. I guess on a day-to-day basis, like every morning before I leave the house, I meditate. I do like an environmental cleanse, like energy cleanse. And I make sure that, you know, my aura is protected before I go outside.
Yeah.
I also read out my goals daily. And, you know, I have my I am statements, and one of them is I am love, that I say out loud every day. I also write down what I'm grateful for. I also write down, you know, that I love myself more than yesterday, more today than yesterday for, you know, X, Y, and Z. And I do that for Harry as well. But on another level as well, like I think we all have, you know, fears and things that pop up, and, you know, our mind can really go against us sometimes. So some of the things that I do during the day when that happens is I'll just replace it with, you know, other thoughts that are more empowering. And if things get like a little bit sticky, I just say to myself, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, if I'm gripping to something, I just go, it doesn't matter. And I just try to, you know, send it love and peace, or, you know, even if it's another person that's, you know, I've had a conversation with, and that's it gets a little bit, you know, sticky.
Yeah.
Because I think I can have a tendency to, you know, go doom and gloom, really, like, you know, and then just overthink things. So I'm just filling my mind constantly and purposefully throughout the day with content, like reading books, like self-help books, you know, having Post-it notes everywhere. I've got Post-it notes everywhere that just remind me. And even just going back to journals, like sometimes I'll flick through a journal that I've written in, and it will take me to like the exact page that I need to see that day or in that moment.
Yeah.
Or even just going for a walk, getting my feet in the sand. There's like a little forest down the road. I'm like, oh, I've got to go to the forest. I got to get amongst the trees and like take my shoes off and just sit there.
Yeah.
But there's just, I think nature is a massive part of, you know, my mental health.
Yeah. I love that.
And then being able to talk to other people, I think that, you know, there is, they do say that a problem shared is a problem halved.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I think sometimes when we share things too with others, we realise that it's not just me that's thinking of that too. You know, when we're in our head, it's like, oh my gosh, no one else would be able to understand this, but you can share it, and then someone else will say, oh, I've experienced that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think too, like, you know, I've had psychologists that I've worked with throughout, you know, my life. I have a mentor that I work with, and like I now could not imagine not having a mentor, or because like somebody to be able to help guide, you know, your path, your like where you're going in life.
Yeah.
And having that true north as well really helps, because it can just ground you in like, where am I heading? What are my goals? What am I focusing on? Because if we're not, you know, we kind of just catch all the rubbish.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so I'm assuming that from putting your feet in the sand and going down to the forest and that sort of thing, that's also how you keep grounded as well, like feet on earth or in sand.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. And so why does this feel different? Like how do you know in your body or your energy that this is your new purpose? Like, have you felt something different in yourself?
There's a constant drive. You know, it's like unlimited energy.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. And I think too, like my sort of health business is heading in, like it's even widened in terms of what I want to deliver, because as I continue to heal myself in many other ways as well, I'm unlocking, like, you know, not secrets, but like, you know, little ways that can really help people overcome themselves, because what I realized too is, like, you know, my identity was so tied in with my dad, and the sort of strength and safety that he gave me, that when I was a bit lost, it was because my identity was like locked into him. And I think a lot of people do that with their parents or their family. But on that journey of going, yes, this is me, particularly even starting this business, like, I was terrified, like, who am I to do this, you know, imposter syndrome and things like that, is like one of the key things is like nervous system regulation. Like, my body was not going to let me, you know, surpass my nervous system, no matter how much I was trying to convince myself that this is who I was and this is what I did. So I've actually signed up to do a somatic and breathwork teacher training in Bali this year, which I'm
beautiful. Wow.
So it just keeps expanding and developing. And I think, like, knowing that I'm on that path is that, you know, I'm unlocking little things along the way is going to help my clients, or has probably already helped my clients.
Yeah.
Because the most common, I think, conversation that I have with women is like, oh, I really want to do it, and I really want to, you know, lose the weight, or have, you know, get stronger, or even have toned arms, or whatever it is. But, like, you know, I had one woman say to me, like, you know, I've always been a C or a D in my life, like my marks at school and, you know, how I perform at work. And I've always wanted to start a business and do all these things. And it's like, it really is like your nervous system and your identity that holds you back from achieving those goals. So it's not just about saying, oh, I'm going to be healthy, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to build muscle. It's actually about saying, actually, no, I deeply care about myself, to take the steps to do, you know, to take the action.
Yeah. It's that action piece is so important, isn't it? We've really got to take that action. Absolutely.
Yeah. And consistently, definitely.
Yeah. And so I'd love to sort of dive into the work that you're doing with women. So, and particularly the perimenopause piece that I know that you're starting to really work in as well. So why do you think that a woman's relationship with her body changes as she gets older? So particularly as she goes into perimenopause and menopause, what's your perspective on why the relationship changes?
Well, I guess I guess my generation, and most likely your generation too, has grown up with, you know, the skinny is in, you know, thing. So what we've been taught is that you need to eat less to lose weight, and that, you know, skinny is healthy. And so most women have that mindset. Still, even if, you know, and it could come from their parents as well. So it's about really understanding what health means for your body in that time of your life. And you can't get away, because we don't have, well, estrogen goes all over the shop, and progesterone just declines. So because we don't have these hormones, which are quite protective, they're neuroprotective, they protect our muscles, our bones, our metabolism, our cardiovascular system. So we actually need to reframe how we look at health, and our body, and how to support that. And like muscle mass and doing strength training is the antidote to that, but you have to support it with nutrition. So it's about reframing, the mindset around health and what that is, because the media is not a healthy representation of that. And we're lucky now that we have access to the internet, we have access to more information, AI and things like that. But you're always going to find the answers to whatever question you're asking. So if you want to know that, you know, if you want validation that skinny is healthy, then you're going to get that. If you want validation that, you know, being strong is healthy, you're going to get that. Like, it can be so confusing. So I think, the mindset piece is probably the hardest because we've been programmed.
Yeah. I also think too, I'm a woman in perimenopause, that from how I think about myself and others as well, is that I guess I'm not worrying as much about what others are telling me I should do either. Now it's more, I think, because I get older, I'm like, I just don't want to give that any energy anymore. I need to do what's right for me.
Yeah. And I think too, like, some women can just go, this is just it now. This is who I am. This is my body. Then, I give up because they've tried everything.
Yeah. Because everything is changing. And I also think too, I mean, I don't have children, but I know a lot of people around my age in their sort of early to mid 50s, the kids are growing up. Then again, that identity piece comes in too, which is what you went through when you were 30, having lost your dad. Then a lot of other things start to change as you start to go into this time of your life too, because you start to look at things differently. You think differently. You don't care as much about other things as what you used to, because you don't want to give it energy,
Yeah, that's it. We're sort of focusing on your own, like, circle of influence around you, as opposed to looking outside and, reflecting, what's going on over there, and, I've got to keep up with what's happening in the world.
Yeah.
I don't have time for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I find the women that, like, have either had children, who have been lean, and then they've had the children, and then they were like, I want to get my body back.
Yeah.
If that's could be a goal for them or a mindset.
Yeah.
Or they've had the children, they've done the mother thing, and then they're like, I've actually got the time and space now to focus on myself.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so what sort of things are you working with your clients at the moment? Is there like one or two things that you're noticing is a common thing that women come to you to work with?
Yes, it's mainly like weight loss and, to get lean and to build muscle.
Yeah.
That's probably the main things. Like, and then we start working on values and, the identity piece and whatnot, which, my feedback so far is, oh my God, I feel amazing just from like the mindset stuff.
Yeah.
So, and that really fuels the action that they're taking in their health as well. So they're following the program, they're doing all the things, they're, excelling, I would say, because they're feeling good. And, if you feel good, you're going to take action. When you feel good, you're like, I'm just going to sit on the couch.
Yes, exactly. And so from that weight loss point of view, do you then like get them to do like a food diary and review all of that? Is that where then the nutrition and the health nutrition comes in?
Yeah, so generally what I do is I've got an intake form and I ask them what they've been eating. They do a food diary. We usually do a food diary for 1 or 2 weeks.
Yep.
But I will put together a meal plan for them based on what they're already eating. So there might be foods that we just have to shuffle around based on their training. But most of the time it's a lot of women will eat more energy-dense foods, like lots of carbs and fats over protein. So it's just about rebalancing what they're having, and then having, more carbs on training day and then less carbs on training day, more fats, so that you are in that fat burn state. Yeah, because if insulin is high, so you eat carbs, insulin spikes, you can't lose fat. You cannot catabolize fat or break down fat cells.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And the mindset piece, do you do that in conjunction with the nutrition? So it's like a blended program, right?
Yeah. So the first couple of weeks are really intense. They're like, okay, this is what I'm eating now. And it might just be a few adjustments. Usually, like, as soon as they sign up, I'm like fixing their breakfast. Yeah, this is number one thing that we need to fix, and that's your breakfast. Just do this, this, and this. And then and then they'll get a full meal plan. But we'll do all of that. The first month is probably, as I said, the most intense, and then it's just the accountability piece from there.
Yeah.
And adjustments as well. Like, you know, if you're on holidays or you're away for the weekend, like I get, you know, the ladies texting me like, can I eat this? What can I have on this menu? I haven't trained today. I'm having this. Okay, cool. Just don't have this later. But you know what I mean? It's training their mind to go, okay, cool. Well, if I have had a lot of energy dense foods earlier in the day, maybe I'll have less throughout the rest of the day. And yeah, so like I've got one client at the moment. She's like, I totally understand what I'm meant to do now. And she's about to go on holidays. And she's like, okay, cool. Like I've got this. I'm just going to continue doing it while I'm on holidays, and I'm going to keep exercising. So I've got to put a program together for like a strength training program that she can do at the hotel gym. So yeah, it's nice to see that it's like weaved into the life of my clients. It's not just something that they do during a program. It becomes who they are, and it's not extreme. Yeah.
And I guess too, like I bet, you know, for those women who are working with you, who are going on holidays and messaging you saying, what can I have on the menu? It's probably the first time that they've actually made a conscious choice about what they're eating, because, you know, it's a really different mindset of, I now have a choice of, I can have this or I can have this.
Yeah.
And like, what do I feel is actually better for me now that I understand the food?
Yeah. As opposed to just having, well, I want to eat this because that's yummy or whatever they're like. You can still have that.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying don't eat pizza and chocolate, and I eat all of those things.
Yeah. But it's just knowing where it comes in.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So I've put the QR code there for people if they want to connect in with you and have a conversation about working with you. So if this is resonating with people that were watching or listening, then please feel free to connect in with Alicia. So let's go back to passion and purpose. So what advice would you give to someone who's just starting to explore their passion and purpose? What's one tip that you could give?
I would say look back on your life and just think of one, like, you know, challenge that you've overcome, like a big challenge or something that really was difficult for you to overcome, and you've overcome it and you feel amazing, or it's improved your life in some sort of way. And look at that, because that, like, that's my, you know, that's where I found my purpose. And I feel like when you look at something that you've been through, definitely other people are either going through it or have been through it, or are going to go through it. Because I think we can sometimes think that we're alone and we're the only person who's gone through this, and we're in our own little world, and it's, you know, it's hard, and like, and then help other people with it. Like gain, you know, and once you sort of focus on that, you go, oh, there's a skill set I can learn. There's a skill set I can learn.
Yes. Yeah. And I also love too, before when you said about, you know, that you're constantly learning new things, and I think that that's one of the things, as people like you and I who we work with other people, we also need to make sure that we're up-leveling ourselves all the time as well. I mean, I've got 3 coaches at the moment because I'm revamping my coaching program, because I want my coaching program for my clients to be amazing, but I need to be coached and mentored, and I need to grow for that to flow through to my clients as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think too, with the purpose piece, what I found, I remember at the time, I was researching more health stuff than I was researching, like, you know, video production and photography, different skills. And, you know, I was more interested in looking for that sort of content. So it's just where I was naturally directed. Like, I've got a friend who really loves Lululemon, and she's bored with her job. And I'm like, go get a job at Lululemon, like write them a letter and tell them how passionate you are about their product, like their product.
Yeah.
You know, she loves Lululemon. Like she knows their products and their fabrics inside out, probably better than most of their stuff.
Yeah.
Like if that's your purpose, then go for it. It doesn't have to like be saving the world or, you know, helping people with deep work. It could be something that you just love.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's also that sense too, and I mean, you did it in the sense of you were building your nutrition business while you were still doing your video and production and that sort of thing, because it's not just, I mean, some people are lucky and they can just put a hard line in the sand and they go, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to do this. I did that 5 years ago and then realized, I probably need to pick up a little bit of HR consulting through the process. I mean, it's been years now since I've done that. But I think that people, you know, it's not just a this or that. It can be a both for the moment while you build. And you also, I think it's important that sometimes we think this is our purpose, but then you start going down that rabbit hole and you might realize that actually this is just a passion for me. It's really not my purpose, because there is a difference.
Definitely. Well, I've still got the video production and photography business. Like I almost sold it. And then I was like, holy hell, I don't know how I'm going to pay for things if I sell it. Like that. So I was like, I need to keep that as a base for now. And I still love doing the work, but really just, you know, nurture that business as opposed to trying to ram it into existence. So it's nice. I've been able to work with clients in a nice way, not bombarded. You know, I'm still finding my feed and my process, and that's unfolding. So it's kind of very against who I normally am. Like, let's get this done, and it has to happen overnight, and all of that stuff. And now I'm actually like, no, because it is my purpose. I'm letting it unfold because the timing doesn't matter. Because it's just what I know I'm meant to do.
Yeah. I love that. That's such a beautiful point to make, that if it is your purpose, the timing doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because everything that you need will just present itself at the right time. It will grow how it needs to. And really beautiful point. Yeah.
I just got chills when you said that.
Yeah, so did I. Yeah. So one of my usual questions is, has your path to pursuing your passion and purpose evolved over time? Obviously it has. But in the last couple of years since you've really stepped into this studying and the nutrition piece is really your deep purpose now, what's the latest evolution? Like, what's on the cards for even just the next 12 months? What are you thinking of doing?
Yeah. So my my purpose is definitely evolving. And I've always had in the back of my mind that I believe anyone can do anything in life. Like I've come from, you know, a not well-off family. You know, the cards have been against me in many cases, but I've always done what I wanted to. So I'm writing a book. Got Post-its all over my mirror. I'm writing a book. And I've just started the mentor training with Raise because I want to help mentor children. And so that's kind of developing, I think, because, you know, we can get held back and stuck in the crab bucket of where we've come from, and the dynamics and whatnot. So I guess I want to inspire people that it doesn't matter where you've come from, you can achieve anything in life and be anyone. So that's, the unfolding of that.
I love that. Yeah. And it's interesting because I was curious as to how you would answer that, because sometimes we do have this, I'm going to do this, this and this, but we've also got to have that element of flow, don't we? We also have to have that element of whatever else comes in, and if it feels right, I'm going to go that way.
Definitely.
Yeah. Because if we're really stuck in a box, we may miss those other opportunities that could be knocking, but we're not seeing them.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. And so if someone's listening today and feels they feel a connection to you and what you've shared today, how would you suggest that, like, what's the next steps for them
Yeah.
to connect with you?
Yeah, so they can connect with me on Instagram, or if they are interested in working with me, they can head to my website.
Yeah.
There's a link to apply to work with me. It's, it's not a sales conversation. It's just a chat to see if we're right to work together. And sometimes people just need a couple pointers on what they need to fix. They don't need 3 months of coaching.
Yeah.
But yeah, reach out to me on Instagram, or jump onto my website and fill out an application form.
Yeah, perfect. That's great. And if someone is thinking about what would be my next step from a health point of view, like, is there like one tip that you can give people of something particular that they can research or they can look into in relation to a health tip? Like, what's something that you find is really valuable?
Yeah. I guess, okay, my number one health tip, particularly for women, is always to increase your protein intake. Like 1.6 grams to 2 grams per kilo of your body weight should be the protein that you're eating per day.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is protein is not just built for muscle, not just for building muscle. It's also used in terms of creating hormones in our body, DNA, as well as the enzymes that break down our food. So if you're not having enough protein in your diet, your body will actually take it from your muscles if it needs to.
Right. Ah, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So protein is the number one thing. And then I think for women in that perimenopause, or even, from the age of 30, just build as much muscle as you can.
Yeah.
So, and just continue to do strength training with the support of the right nutrition.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. That's a great tip.
And same with men, actually. Like, men need, they go through their version of menopause as well.
And they also go through their wife or their partner's menopause as well.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Well, if they're doing strength training, all of those mood symptoms, the vasomotor symptoms, which is like the hot flushes, like strength training, I believe, is like the gold standard for perimenopause and menopause when it comes to like all of those adverse health effects.
Yeah. Okay. So can you believe that we've only got a couple of minutes left?
Time flies.
I know. So much information. I love it. So I'm going to ask you the same question that I ask all of my guests before we finish our conversation, but I'm going to tweak it just a little bit. So I'd love to know what's one lesson or truth that you've learned over your journey in the last 12 months that you are really grateful for.
Oh, to ask for support and help. You don't have to do it alone. Yeah. I was an independent woman, and it's nice to ask for help and to allow people to help. Yeah.
And is that something that even just not just in the last 12 months that you wish that you had known a lot earlier in life?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I think it's, I'm a type of person who's just, always doing things. So an independent woman, I can carry, fridges upstairs and things like that, as opposed to just asking for help.
Yeah.
Like in all areas, speaking to people about things and allowing that, like I think allowing to receive.
Yeah. That sense of community, I think, is definitely something that we're all stepping back into, it feels like, having that inner circle and that community of people, whether it's just women or, it doesn't matter, but who have you got to support you, and who can you lean on and ask questions when you need help?
Definitely. Absolutely.
Yeah. I love that. Thank you. It's a beautiful way to finish our conversation. It's very much filled with love. Beautiful.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing everything today. And I feel really blessed. It's so funny. Like, I've known you for a few years, but whenever I interview someone that I know, I learn so much more. It's like, oh, I didn't know that. So I've learned some things, but I have no doubt that everybody else that's been watching and listening will have learned a lot as well. So thank you for just being so beautifully you and for sharing what you have.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for joining me on this episode of The True North Show. I hope today's conversation brought you closer to your own sense of purpose and reminded you of the power you hold within. If this resonated with you, I'd love for you to subscribe, leave a review, or share it with someone who's also walking the path of becoming. To continue the journey, head over to megannorth.com. You'll find resources, support, and ways to work with me one-on-one. Until next time, keep trusting yourself, following your intuition, and taking one aligned step at a time. Your true north is never lost. It's just waiting for you to come home.